What is going on, everybody? Hey, I wasn't sure.
You are sprightly today.
I wasn't sure if we're going to have a Bachelor episode today, but it was Jason's episode last week when we recorded the Ask Nick for those of our diehard Ask Nick listeners, which if you're not on that boat.
People are digging the Ask Nick.
If you're not on that boat, come on. It's taken off, people. Anyways, Jason Mesnick season. What? And it truly was
it's a really good recap.
Greatest of all time season. So we get into that. The lovely and wonderful Cathy Kelley is back, helping us break down all things Jason.
Getting it done.
And Cathy watched this season back in the day. I was not. I didn't know. I was not a Bachelor fan back then. So Cathy has some hot and excellent takes, as well as we have an update from the Bachelor bubble.
Oh, another one?
Another update from the Bachelor bubble we have to get into.
Did you know there was a comment that people were like, everyone take a shot every time they say Bachelor bubble? It's a new game.
Great.
It's a new game.
If you're driving, don't do that.
Don't do that.
But yeah, there's a new update, so we'll discuss that.
That's amazing.
Also, before we get into the episode, I'm going to give you guys the hard sell today on... Nick V Talks Trash TV.
You don't.
It's been really exciting. So many of you have listened, have joined. It means a lot that you're supporting the project I worked hard on. A lot more of you have dipped your toes in. You've checked out the page, and I'm assuming you've said, "I want to pay $5 for that." I get it. I understand. I can't tell you how many times I'm a big sports fan. I'll go to the sports subscription service, and I will look at it and go, "Nah, not this time." And I'll come back, not this time. And then finally, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Listen, many of you, lots of you, tons of you, and I thank you for that, are about to listen to us recap Jason Mesnick season from 9 years ago with the wonderful Cathy Kelley. If you enjoy this, and you will, because it's amazing, by the way, you are... The Nick V Talks Trash TV with all the women from most of the women from my season, many of the loving, wonderful mainstays of my season, you're going to just die for how good it is. And I'm telling you, it's just worth your time.
Yeah. If
you want to join, you can cancel at any time. If you just join for the Bachelor recap, because there's going to be much more amazing content heading your way. If you've been to Starbucks 3 times in 2 months, it's worth it. You're right.
It's the cup of coffee you keep passing through.
That's it. So check it out. I promise you won't regret it. If you've thought about it, you're like, I don't want to. Just come in, leave whenever you want. It's if you've ever bought an audiobook, if you like tell-all type of behind the scenes, I promise you, trust me.
Less than Netflix.
Trust me here, you will love it.
Yeah,
you will love it.
I did watch. It was pretty good. Like, even Angela, who was just there on night 1, that episode is kind of amazing.
Thank you for saying.
You're welcome.
Anyways, it's if you can find it, you can go to my Instagram. There's a link in my bio. It's on my Twitter. Go to Patreon and search in Nick V. I promise you will love it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to listen to this, you need to listen to that. Anyways, anyway. God, I gotta stop saying anyways.
Anyways.
Apparently anyways isn't a word.
It's not?
I guess. I don't know. It's anyway.
We'll Google it later.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Cathy.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Feels so different. The world is like...
I know. I haven't seen you since... It was like I saw you right before.
A couple days before. And now I'm in my sweatpants on the bottom, party on the top.
Is this you?
Got the vibe, just like
is this you pretending
going.
You're
Those are
roughing it?
I'm still in quarantine.
I was like, wow.
Well, you can
look really nice.
You can dress up sweatpants with heels and get away with it now. Like I love that that's a trend.
Sweatpants.
I want to start wearing pants with
whatever. You have dress up sweatpants
so
too.
You sure? Yeah, but I don't make them that like that. Like that. What have you been doing?
A whole lot of nothing. Yeah, quarantine's been great. It's just been very relaxing. I've read like 20 books in that time. Just a lot of like self-help, and then some fiction. Been baking a lot. Lots of cookies, lots of breads, eating all of them. So it's been great.
Well,
Yeah.
Winning.
Yeah.
Are you also working out?
All
or
the
just-
carbs. Oh, yeah, sometimes. Been going on a lot of hikes.
I mean, because I got to say, you get to sell those baking goods if you're just not
Okay.
working out and eating them. Still looking.
That's all I do is just
Still
eat
looking
cookies
fine.
all day.
Well, I wanted you to come in and talk because obviously there's a lot of buzz going on in the Bachelorette world.
I'm curious.
We have some bubble updates. Before we get into that, though, you were a viewer of the Jason Mesnick season back in the day, which we recapped. And I got to say, yeah,
that
wow.
is very back in the day.
It was a good season.
When was it? Like over 10 years
It was
ago.
11 years ago.
2009.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
So I'm the only one who didn't watch it when it was going. I do remember.
Sucks to be you.
I do remember it being talked about. Like
Yeah.
I remember it being. I remember
Because he was really the very hated at the time
Yeah,
for what he
which
did,
is
which is,
crazy.
I mean, they had, if you look at the past track record, Brad Womack was kind of not liked because of his decision
yeah.
at the end. But Jason, like what he pulled, that was the first time that something like that
There was a
happened.
switcheroo,
and
yeah.
now that's so common.
Well, it's not as common, but it is interesting that yes, and I was thinking about that too. I remember knowing about the season because Molly worked at Kohl's corporate in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, and I was living in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and so it was kind of a buzz that the girl from Kohl's.
Yeah.
I got just fun fact. I was offered a job at Kohl's corporate that I turned down out of college.
I mean,
I kind of wish I would have taken it.
Stop
Though.
bragging.
yeah. Seriously.
That was kind of a regret. But I wish I would have taken it. It all worked out. But anyways,
You're doing fine.
Maybe they'll offer you a job. They'll be listening to the podcast and be like, wow, this could be a great fit for us.
I don't know if I want to get into the department store industry nowadays.
Do you think they have fancy sweatpants there?
Probably.
That would be a good
Kohl's?
selling point. Yeah.
J-Lo has her own line at Kohl's. I bet they got some fancy sweatpants.
Yeah. So I think Molly had worked there or was working there when she went on the season. So it was definitely talked about. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Well, there was Brad, and then Juan Pablo was a dick.
But he was after.
Yeah.
He
But
was
I'm just saying, like, the guys, it was interesting. And I think what is fascinating and different is that even when I was the Bachelor, when I talk about the pressure the leads feel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think it was different. Both Bachelorette and Bachelor felt pressure, but different. I think the Bachelorette never wanted, like, until Hannah, it was crazy.
Mhm.
The Bachelorette never wanted to be the first Bachelorette who left alone, not being proposed to. Like what is that going to say about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out the great thing for Hannah Brown in terms of.
Yeah.
But that was, I think, I remember in the fantasy suite with Andy, her saying that to me.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to be, because I remember being like, so do you really want to get engaged? Like, because this was like our alone time, and I'm thinking, hey, this is like
A real thing.
I really like you, but
Yeah.
like I'm fine with just dating.
Yeah.
She's like, nobody. Like, this is ending in an engagement.
I mean, there's definitely extra pressure with that involved, but it works sometimes.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying it's just fascinating because, and then I'm saying the Bachelor feels just like, well, you can't have this opportunity and waste it.
Yeah.
Because you had heard about the Walmacks and the Jasons before them, that when it didn't work out, they were hated.
Mhm.
And then you go back and watch, what did Jason do wrong?
I mean, we just have this unrealistic view on what the show is supposed to be at this point. Like the fact that you're able to not just find someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with out of a group of people that were cast randomly for you.
You know what?
But to get engaged within less than 2 months.
No, I know. It's crazy. But you know what's kind of fascinating is that what The Bachelor does or did is they do try to show all the points of view, right? You got Molly's point of view, you got Jason's point of view, you got Melissa's point of view. And then we watch the love stories movies, the rom-coms, the Notebook. And in every rom-com, there's always look about the Notebook, right? There's the guy, the army guy, Jason, what's his name? The actor?
Oh, Ryan Gosling?
No, well, he's the hero. The other guy.
Oh, the other guy.
James Marsden.
Maslow?
Maslow?
No, not Maslow.
Maslow.
Maslow's the Disney kid. Or Big Time Rush.
Marsden. Yeah, but you know, the
yeah,
With that
him.
guy.
the Bridesmaid movie guy. He's in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
James Marsden.
Yes.
Yeah, the hairspray guy.
Yeah, great actor. And he's
Clearly memorable.
but like in that movie, he's a nice guy. He's not even like the villain. He's like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And she leaves him for
Yeah.
They just don't have
Goss.
the chemistry.
But what I'm saying is, we should have the movie where you get the other point of view from the person in all these rom-coms who's like the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there is always one in these rom-coms,
Yeah.
and we don't give a shit. We're
But
just happy.
That doesn't feel good at the end if you see this person crying and
That's
eating
what Tall
ice cream.
said.
Yeah.
Remember what Tall said? Tall said that at the Bachelor and the movies are the same. He said that happiness or love starts when the movies end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
The Bachelor
Bachelor, too.
needs the sad sob story so that they can have a new Bachelorette.
No,
Like that's the
no, I know, but it's just kind of crazy how it all matters the lens that we view it on. And
Yeah.
so the Jason and Molly love story in the short term at the time, you know, kind of
Seems
suffered.
scandalous,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, it seems scandalous.
Yeah. I mean, clearly in retrospect, it's worked out very well for them.
I mean, they have no problem propping up those two and that family
Yeah.
anytime they need to be like, hey, the Bachelor works.
Yeah. And I love that they're trying to set up their kids. Like Stephanie was trying to set up her daughter with Jason's son, like over Instagram.
Yeah.
Like that. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, keeping that
the
going.
Mesnick going.
It was wild to go back. It's been funny with watching Allie's season, watching Jason's season, just how much time has gone, like 2009 between now. Like the fact that they couldn't even air it in high definition, like they had the bars, was kind of wild.
That's wild. Yeah, Jason's was the first season that I watched. I had watched a little bit of Andrew Firestone's season and Trista's season because my babysitter would let me stay up late and watch that. And my mom had no idea.
I remember my first girlfriend was watching Andrew Firestone season. And I just remember a scene because there was a girl who was like, he was on a date and said how Olive Garden was her favorite Italian restaurant.
The breadsticks.
And at the time, I loved the Olive Garden, and I was like, yes. And Andrew
You're from Milwaukee, so that's like the best Italian restaurant.
No, actually,
You're like, that's the Michelin star there.
actually, no.
Oh, okay.
Milwaukee has amazing Italian restaurants. Some of the best. Calderone Club, little plug if you're in Milwaukee. It's the best. It's amazing. But as a 22-year-old, you know, chain restaurants or where it's at. Anyways, Andrew was like, that's garbage. And I remember being offended.
Because he was like he's from the Firestone
Yeah.
family. So that's like peasants go to like the Olive Garden.
Sure,
That's not even in their
He's like,
vocabulary.
"For me,
Yeah.
breadsticks? I'm offended.
well, that's how it was painted.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you don't have to be from wealth to realize that, like, maybe the Olive Garden isn't the best Italian restaurants that you can find. Maybe a local family-owned restaurant. But anyways, I'll always remember
Olive
the
Garden is a family restaurant.
Yeah,
the
next thing you're gonna do is
Darden family.
tell me Chili's isn't real Tex-Mex. What's going on?
Sorry, guys. So Jason was your first season.
First season where I watched the entire thing. Yeah. I was in college, I think. And looking back, like I really only remember Molly and Melissa. And so reliving those other or getting to see those other relationships again was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was the girl Shannon who went nuts?
Shannon, the one who was like the stalker and like knew everything. That was so weird.
But
Knew
that's
everything
also-
about his brother and his brother's kids.
That's just Instagram nowadays. Like you don't have to stalk someone. You literally
That
just
was-
look on their page and you know everything.
I thought that was really
So-
fascinating.
But now-
MySpace.
now
That's what I
that's
love.
standard,
MySpace.
yeah.
I miss
I listed
MySpace.
all of your top 8. I made sure that they weren't girls that you dated before.
So crazy.
I miss MySpace. I liked
Do
it.
you?
I did. I liked it. I liked.
What did you like about it? You like the song choices?
I did. I like
of
the
course.
song choice. You know, you come on. It's
Yeah.
a vibe.
Did you have a lot of followers?
I didn't know if I had any. Did you have followers on MySpace?
Yeah. And then you had your top 8. Like
You had
that
your
was like the
friends.
big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, and your top like whatever. Like
I was so petty
Take
too
some-
with
yeah.
my top 8. Yeah, I would like always change it. Sometimes I'd have one.
Oh.
Sometimes I'd have none.
I was very emo in the MySpace era. Like I always had like a Fall Out Boy song playing as my, and oh God, I was the worst.
I kind of self-taught myself how to do a bit of computer programming
Oh.
through
via MySpace.
Oh, so you could like change up the
Because
looks
like
of it? Yeah.
you this is when I was an accountant. And so I like hated my job and I just set up my desk and like
Yeah.
fucked with my MySpace page.
Dreaming of that Cole's job.
Yeah, I
then.
was I was dreaming of working at Kohl's, and updating my MySpace page. And you could have like, remember the backgrounds? You could like
Oh, yeah.
design your wallpaper, if you
And
will.
really, you were the only one that cared. There might have been like 1 or 2
Yeah.
people that would like look at it and be like,
Totally.
oh, wow,
Well,
I love that
found
background.
this.
But
I found this one, but I didn't quite like it, and so I like figured out how to go in and change some of the
Oh.
code to like change the color or flip it, and I felt real smart.
yeah.
I have no idea how I did that. I couldn't do it.
No, I mean, knowing those codes back in the day was like the thing.
Yeah. And then I remember, I also remember being like, because that was a time where Facebook was still like it was specific to college.
Colleges, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was
Yeah.
out of college by the time Facebook
I forgot how old you are.
came out. And,
He's just brushing over that.
and,
you lose your train of thought because you're senile.
and so yeah, and so I remember being like, no, you gotta go to I was like an advocate for MySpace. I was like
You
selling
really
it to
wanted
people.
MySpace to
When
happen.
I
You
remem-
and Justin Timberlake.
Yes. When I remember being at this training, and it was like I was like 2 years removed from college,
Yeah.
and like a bunch of people were like just out of college. I'm like, oh no, it's MySpace time, man. like let that college shit go.
Yeah.
I was way off. I was not. I was way off. Anyways, Theragun saved my life this weekend.
You
I
did?
woke up and my back.
Really?
My back. Then I was stressed out. I had a lot of anxiety.
Did
I
you
don't know if
roller
it's the house
skating
buying
again?
process that's really getting me. No, I did not. I haven't been roller skating the past few days. I've been busy buying a house. But I'll tell you what, I took my little mini Theragun,
Travel one?
the travel one, because I've been doing a bit of traveling. And it's, oh my God. Do you know, before Theragun, I'm sure you all could relate. There are these moments where you're like, if I just had someone to just rub my back and just put your thumb into this spot right here. And they'd be like, no. And then they would do it for 5 seconds. And
It's not
all
the
you
same
wanted.
relief.
It's all you wanted. Theragun. It's amazing. I want to cry because it's been there for me when no one else would.
Oh, it's your quarantine partner.
And I gotta say, people, if you you gotta get Theragun. It's amazing. It's so easy to use. Like, it's amazing how you can really put it in any part of your body in your back, and without like, I'm not even a flexible person, and you can do it. Anyways, the stress of daily life weighs on all of us, whether you are an elite athlete or just a regular person like me. Trying to get through the day, muscle pain and muscle tension is a real thing. Don't I know it? And they're doing amazing things because the all-new Theragun Gen 4 is here.
Woohoo!
It has a proprietary brushless motor that is so quiet, you'll wonder if it's even on. Oh, you'll know it's on when your muscles feel it, but no one around you. You won't bother anyone. I think that's what they're trying to say. It's fucking awesome, people, is what you need to know. Try Theragun risk-free 30 days. There is no substitute for Theragun Gen 4 with an OLED screen, personalized Theragun app, and the quiet and power you need. Starting at only $199. Go to theragun.com/VIALL right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's theragun.com/VIALL. Theragun.com/VIALL. It's amazing. Student loans. I actually recently paid off my student loans.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 20 years
My
later.
student loan.
15 years later, 20 years later, 15 years later. I don't know. Hey, student loans suck.
They suck.
Let's just keep it real. And the thing that sucks even more is the interest you pay in it, because
Yeah.
it's like college has got more expensive. Well, the way to help you lower your payments and reduce your interest rates are lower than ever, EARNEST is helping you do those things. Now is the time to get your student loan payments under control. You could be saving by refinancing your student loans with EARNEST. I love my student loan payment, said no one ever. Check if refinancing with EARNEST could help you lower your monthly payments. Checking takes just 2 minutes. Interest rates have hit record lows, which means it's a great time to refinance your student loans and see if you can lower your payment right now.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
And you can save a ton of money.
And people need a break in their bills right now. So this is perfect.
You could save a chunk of change.
Yeah,
you might be saving, I mean, I don't want to, who knows, check. Could be 20, 30, 40, 50, $60 a month. Really. I mean, it really can make
every
that much
little
of a
bit
difference.
helps right now.
It's worth the 2 minutes to see. Is it not?
It's totally worth it.
And now you can get $100 cash bonus when you refinance a student loan with earnest.com/VIALL. Once again, you get $100 cash bonus when you refi your student loan at earnest.com/VIALL. Not available in all states. Visit earnest.com/VIALL for more details. Terms and conditions apply. Earnest Student Loans financing loans are made by Earnest Operations LLC, NMLS, pound 1204917. California financing laws, license number 6054788, 303 2nd Street, Suite 401 North, San Francisco, California, 94107. Visit earnest.com/license for a full list of licensed states. But I also remember the Shannon, it's interesting thinking how the show has changed too, because I think there's a world where if someone like Shannon was on the show now, she would, the Demi, the Corinnes of the world, someone who, she was funny.
They get quirky, beloved quirkiness.
Yeah, she was funny.
The moment where she was trying to kiss him as she was crying, and she's like, he didn't want to kiss me because I had napkin on my face. Like, that was funny. That would be something that would be a very memorable moment. Yeah, I mean, he didn't want to make out with her after she was crying. That was a little intense, but
yeah. She blew her nose.
The napkin.
And the truth is, who knows? Maybe she was totally nutty, and maybe she was someone who had a great sense of humor. Yeah. And in that world, if you're sarcastic and if you tell a joke and if you are, have very dry sense of humor, they can take that and change it real quick. Yeah. And make you seem totally insane or evil or a dick or whatever.
I almost want, I don't want this, but to watch a season of The Bachelor without any of the music choices, because it would change everything. Yeah.
People actually might have liked me on Andy's season. Even you, Cathy.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. I don't know.
No, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, we watch Andy's season, all of my bad things.
Did they have villainous music behind it?
All the time. All the time. You don't even think about that when you're watching it. It's like, why does this seem?
I don't know. I love it. I appreciate it as somebody who's into making TV. I think it's so good and so smart.
I get it, but you're right, Cathy.
It changes your entire perception of things. And you don't even realize what's going on because it's just your brain functioning.
But that was kind of fascinating. You know what watching this recap really made me miss, and I would like the show to get back to?
What?
We've gotten away from the single parent. I know we have Matt James.
Well, because they were all 12 on the last season. They weren't old enough to even reproduce. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I'd like to see that. I mean, we have Matt James, great, but I would like to. I'd like to see. Have we ever had a single mom? No, we have Emily.
Yeah, Emily. Yeah,
and that was an amazing season. I would like to see a single mom Bachelorette or a single dad Bachelorette again. I mean, Juan Pablo was a single dad, but he kind of ruined that for the single dads.
Yeah.
But just the idea that the conversations about I'm a dad, my life is different.
Yeah.
Having those conversations where for who was the girl, and the real conversations about are you ready for this kind of thing?
Well, that was what was so interesting too, is to have his son so included in the season. I remember Emily was very protective of her daughter and didn't want any of the men to really meet her, but Ty was so involved with this. Yeah. He met, I think, a couple of at least he met Melissa. I don't remember if he met any of the other women, but
he was involved.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But it's very interesting if we had another single parent, would they even choose to show their kid on the show?
And it was cool that he brought in Stephanie's
They
kid
definitely would.
for that date. That was
Yeah.
like kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Where, that I was kind of like, how did that get set up? Because
Well, of course it was a setup.
she
was
seemed
kinda great.
authentically surprised.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, she must have.
I mean, the
Had
kid must
given
have been with her
permission.
family or
Yeah, the
something.
grandma or something.
Maybe they asked her, "Hey, if you make it to hometown dates, would it be okay if your
Yeah,
daughter was
right.
on there?"
Yeah.
Or would they film something and then later ask her
They
if
could do that
they could?
too, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. What a great moment. You okay with us using this kind of thing?
Yeah.
For sure.
Because he even seemed hesitant at first, watching it back, to introduce himself to the daughter. Like he wanted permission from her, which I really respected.
Yeah, I think we've talked about them being so young the past few years. Obviously, with Claire, it was like aging up.
I thought you were gonna say, so before they had all of these girls, like Molly being this like Midwestern girl who was just a cute, worked at Kohl's. Now it's all influencers. It's all former like pageant girls and
Well,
models.
the pageant,
and
they got nuts with the pageant thing.
Yeah.
For Colton's season, you know, and they've really kind of stuck with that pipeline.
well,
of
the fashion bloggers and the
There's only so much you're like. That's just the new normal.
Yeah.
There's just like you can't. Bachelor.
people expect that at this point.
Not only that, but like, yeah, they can't. Bachelor can't control Instagram, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's to say like, what you can't. I don't think they can be like, you can't have an Instagram. Like, what do they? And also, that would be foolish.
But the being here for the right reasons, I think, only came about in maybe the last 5 or 6 years.
Well,
because before you had all of these people that I feel like genuinely, at least when I was watching, and maybe that's because
Yeah.
I'm young and naive at the time, but thinking that these people were genuinely there to find love, and that was the only reason they were there.
I don't think anyone was questioned on that Jason season about being there for the right
Yeah.
reasons. No, I don't
What was
think it
funny,
came
and
up at
I've
all.
said this, but like like I don't know when right reasons became a thing, but it's been a thing for a long
Yeah.
time. And I agree with you. Only in the past few years it is actually legitimate.
Yeah.
and it's even talked about less now. I almost think.
Do you think that the show's gotten more popular in the last few years? Because there have been so many more celebrities that have come out and said that they watch religiously, or
It's gotten cooler. It's different.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to. It's
An
hard.
admittable guilty
did that
pleasure.
start after your season?
I was right in the like I was right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
You know, when Andy's season Instagram existed, by the time Paradise 3 was happening, that's when, and quite frankly, it was my season of The Bachelor. It was really, I mean, it was cool. It was cool to like to have Brie Larson invite me to her house to do a viewing party,
Yeah.
and you know, like it was, oh, you met The Bachelor, and you know, it was. I was talked about
Yeah.
on like nighttime TV. It was surreal and
Yeah.
wild with celebrities, and it happened a little bit before that. I remember it happened a little bit with Chris Soules' season and Ben's season. It really just kind of popped.
Who were
on
the
mine
first
season.
celebrities? Like I remember Amy Schumer coming out and saying
Oh,
she
Mila
was a huge
Kunis
fan,
and like
Charlize.
Butcher.
Yeah.
and now it's just everyone.
It's everyone. So I think it's gotten cooler because popular, it's hard to say. I mean, less people are like when people were watching Jason's season, cable and Netflix and all these streaming options didn't exist.
Yeah, so you had to watch it.
So you were
live.
getting 20, 30 million viewers.
Yeah.
That's not what they're getting now. But it's also harder to predict because people are recording it. They're watching they're watching in groups.
Yeah.
You know, your Bachelor, you know, people, that will be interesting how it might change because Bachelor parties aren't going to, this will be the first airing clarification season, whatever. Will be the first season where it's going to be taboo to have a Bachelor viewing party.
But people are still going to do it.
They will, but not as many.
Crossrope. You love.
I love to jump around and listen to music. The truth is, I'm a creature of habit, which is great sometimes. But when it comes to working out, you need to mix up. You need to do new things. If you've been running constantly, that's great. But your body's getting used to that. Your return on investment is reducing.
Yeah.
If you're doing plyometrics every day or Pilates every day, whatever it is, yoga, that's all great. But if you're not mixing it up, your return on investment is lowered. So Crossrope, jumping rope, it's an amazing workout. We don't think of it as often as kind of a typical workout. And it's an amazing workout. Crossrope is doing fun things. You have these great weighted jump ropes, all different jump ropes. They have this app that gives you different types of workout. It's fun. It's motivating. It's different. If you're trying to dunk a basketball, which I think everyone listening wants to do, that's going to help with that.
It's because you're jumping so high.
Because you're working on your jumping.
Because you're working on your jumping super high.
But it's also really good. I sweat the crap out of it.
The app is helpful because it teaches you different like exercises that you can do all the time with the ropes. So it doesn't get boring.
Here's why you get it. Crossrope lets you get a killer full body workout in just 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
It's amazing.
And you're sweating. You're like, but you feel good when you're done. It's amazing. So if you're ready for a new cardio and full body home workout, visit crossrope.com/VIALL to get up to $40 off Crossrope sets plus free shipping when you check out today at crossrope.com/VIALL. That's spelled CROSSROPE.com/VIALL. That's crossrope.com/VIALL. Get your jump on
today.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yes, it's gotten cooler.
Yeah.
Because I think 10 years ago it was a legit guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
People talked about it, but it wasn't like
it was also guys were not able to watch it. Like that was not a thing. Now I feel like I have so many guy friends that are like, no, I watch The Bachelor.
Especially and when I say cooler, that's a part of the equation too, because I don't think guys were still being dragged into it and probably enjoying it.
Maybe not as much. Now it's now it's more of a thing of like guys be like, yeah, I watch The Bachelor.
Yeah, but you don't think 10 years ago they reluctantly watched it because they're girlfriends and then they got into it like you?
No, I mean like even guys that I've dated, like they've said they didn't watch it. Like it was taboo to watch. Like if you were to say you watched it, like that's a girl show. And now it's like, oh yeah, like I had a girlfriend that watched it and I watched it. Now I like really, I'm into it. So like I'll watch it on my own.
Yeah.
Boys just don't. I have a couple friend that called me after watching The Bachelor, and my friend will be like going off about, this is horrible, this is terrible, I can't believe I had to sit here with my wife and watch this for the last like hour of my life, I wasted my life. And I'll be like, but you're invested because you're complaining. So you love to watch it.
Yep.
No, they get you. Listen, it's relatable.
They hook you
for both sexes. I would like to see father. Yeah, I would like to see the parent and those conversations. And yeah, they're never going to get away from it entirely. Yeah. But I do think it does have to do with who they're casting. I don't know, the 22, like when half your cast is 23 and they live at home, those are the type of conversations you're going to have. So like they need to do more in terms of like, it is hard because if they have a job.
In a weird way, I feel like the younger girls get hurt more because they've never experienced that kind of pain and they haven't worked to get rid of whatever ego.
It can vary too. I think, if you're going to get the inexperienced lover on, they're gonna respond to heartbreak differently. But even you get the person who's like Melissa, it was, or even like when I was on Annie's season, it was like I was someone who had experienced heartbreak before, so I was trying not to experience
but not publicly.
Again. No, but I'm just saying like the person who goes
being
on
scared of
so I'm saying like the response you can get anyways.
Totally.
But yeah, I think watching Jason's.
I loved what going back to Jason's season, Melissa said when she was publicly dumped after the final rose. She said, "I'm showing him that I'm angry, but that's to mask that I'm hurt." For someone to say that 10 years ago, 11 years ago is a really big deal.
Yeah. And it was crazy watching that back because it wasn't live. There was no studio audience.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, but probably. Can you imagine?
I mean, that's how they'll do it now. No studio audience if they do it after the final rose. True.
But they didn't do a studio audience because it wasn't live and they're trying to keep it a secret. Is Mike right?
Yeah.
They really, it seemed like she really didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's probably, they definitely screwed Jason in that sense. Because do you think when he was, and I don't know, you remember it more as a fan, was Jason hated because he ended things with Melissa, or was it because he brought her out on TV and did it there?
I think that's what it was.
I don't know at that point, because it had never been done before, that they gave him an option. She even said on the show that she was blindsided in that she had asked, does it have anything to do with Molly? And he said point blank, no. And then that same night is when he asked Molly out. He didn't give it a beat. So it was break up with her on air. She knows something's wrong, break up with her on the show, and then cry on commercial break, and then you come back and you're like sitting with Molly. And then he even mentioned, they mentioned in the interview with Chris Harrison that they were in a house secluded for the next week, him and Molly. So like they were together from that moment. I think it was that there was no beat between him ending his engagement to going into this new relationship, where like you just, as a viewer, you just saw him propose to her. You just saw them get engaged. You saw him with with his kid and jumping into the pool and everything. So what?
It sucks because they really, it sucks for him in that sense, because it's just the optics of it all.
Yeah.
I remember wondering at the time, because as Molly was leaving, as he was like saying goodbye to her on that last day, she said, I think you're making a huge mistake. And I always wondered if that played a role in him leaving Melissa.
I doubt it.
Yeah?
Because it's been said many times after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, also that was the first time that happened, and I think America was just expecting a proposal and for them to stay together or break up after 2 years.
Yeah. No, it's
because that was the norm.
It's just kind of, I'm just kind of fascinated how, the audience responds, because wouldn't you just want to be happy for Molly and Jason? And we've all been there. We've been on the receiving end of feeling stupid.
Now I think people are happy. Now I think that people understand his decision, but in that moment, definitely not.
Totally. But it's also crazy too. Think about the framing. What Peter did to Hannah Ann was literally the same thing.
Oh yeah.
And yet
possibly worse.
And when on the live show, they were definitely protecting Peter. Because I think they felt like they put Peter through the ringer and they brought Hannah Ann out.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, so yeah, you're broken up, Hannah Ann. And Hannah Ann nailed it. She said her piece and she looked like a rock star, but they didn't like let it marinate. When Chris does his things and you're just like, when he asks his follow-up questions and he's like kind of like leading the audience down a path, they kind of brought her out, let her say her piece and like let her go.
Yeah.
And it was...
Peter just seemed very confused. And this is the first season, Peter's season, where we heard so much about, because Kelley talked about it, producers really having that sway on the leads' perspectives on people there.
I mean,
What about Ari? Isn't that the same? Ari's the same thing too, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ari picked Becca Kufrin and then decided that he was in love with, what's her name?
Yeah, I mean,
the one that he's married to. Lauren, yeah.
Listen, it's hard. I've disagreed with Kelly's point of view, but I think it's easy to have revisionist history. I get what, I mean, listen, they're together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that, but.
I mean, if you're not as interesting television, like she just seemed normal and she wasn't gonna be swayed by.
I get that.
Yeah.
But a lot of winners are not interesting television. Many of them are. They don't have to be. They're.
No, the Shannons are interesting television. The Corinnes,
I mean, Vanessa could have been amazing television, but they didn't air a lot of it for our sake. Because you know what I'm saying?
They're telling a story, yeah.
So, a lot of people do shut down.
Yeah.
I'm just simply, I can only speak from my experiences and the people I've talked to. If you're just like, I really like this person, they stay. And they don't try to convince you to like, I don't know. I mean, they might, like, for example.
But you're not someone who can be easily convinced. There are a lot of people who they turn to their friends, or in this situation, the people that they're closest to, which are producers, because their friends aren't around, and they ask for counsel, and then that's what they base their decision off of.
They're definitely there for that. But I'm just simply saying, if you are like, I'm really like this person.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, like there's not this big, you know, if you're on the fence with someone, sure. That's what I'm saying. You know, like if you're just like, I don't know, like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, then they could steer you down a path.
Yeah.
I'm just simply saying if you're like getting towards the end and you think you know, this is about finding love, then, you know, if they can convince you to send someone home, then you must have had your own doubts, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Right. Yeah. So they're not going to be like mind fuck you so much that you went from that's.
But I'm just trying to think of like, in a normal dating situation, I know, like, from my own perspective, I would be fine, but I would be super weird and uncomfortable if I knew that the guy that I was dating 4 other women at the same time. If you wanna, or 20 other women at the same time.
If you want to convince me that.
And then also hanging out with them.
Kelly showed up and was like, this is fucking bullshit. This is not my jam.
Yeah.
I don't want to try to fight with these other, I get that. And she kind of shut down and was just like, eh. And then that combination of Peter being like, why are you being like this? And you seem to be like, that's a fucked up world. And I can, right? Those two, you could convince me easily that those two in that world, it was never going to work out. And then you bring in the fact that she might have been difficult to, all those things. And then they were like, she's got to go. And Peter's like, you know what? She is being weird, you know, and she had a bad week. And then you get outside of the bubble, they reconnect, and totally, I totally get that. So I'm just, it's nuanced is all I'm saying.
Well, 11 years from now, when they re-air his season and they're still together, everyone will be fine.
I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked.
And they prop up all their kids on their lap.
I'll be shocked if Kelly and Peter ever break up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Barb loves them too much. He would never disappoint.
The Barb.
I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked. Yeah. So, and you're right. They will be brought out as a successful.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing about Jason is like when they're getting down to those people, like you were saying about the families, there's a different like intimacy and there's a different like consequence to it because you really are kind of like looking for your family as opposed to just somebody to hang out with for a little bit. It's like there's a consequence added to it.
Yes, there's it's not a perfect, and that's a thing. Kind of to your point, I guess what you were saying is that world is not a perfect world. Their number one goal is TV and relationships second to that end. And sometimes they don't get it right, or even like Jason got it wrong, you know? And the fact that he was like crucified temporarily for being like, well, hey man, I don't know. I was all fucked up in the head. And then I don't know, you know, and I can totally, they probably were different, you know? I mean, right after Vanessa and I got engaged, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
I have my concerns, you know.
Maybe I should see your place.
That was kind of wild, but it was fun to watch, and I do hope they. I think we can agree that I hope they go back to their grassroots a little bit. Going forward.
I mean, I would love a single dad over someone that lives at home still.
I don't think it's going to age up, or I don't think we're going to get away too much from the influencing with Matt James's cast.
Yeah,
well, because that's it's better TV.
But I think more women will
like
apply.
Late 20s, right? So he'll get
more women will apply and more people will go on, I think, because of the world that we're living in and less people having jobs that they're concerned about leaving for some time.
There could be that, right? More professionals because they lost.
I think
I don't know.
He's such an attractive person. Like he's like the most attractive person that they've had as the lead in like the longest time.
Since my season.
No offense. It may be ever, you know?
Yeah. No, he's a great looking guy. He's a great looking guy. He's I mean, yes, it's going to be a great season. I'm just saying when we're talking about the terms of like he's not a dad.
Yeah.
He's in his late 20s. Yeah, we're not going to get away from that too much.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. What have you been following about the Bachelorette?
Oh my gosh, everything. Like,
what is your? I do have an update from the Bachelor bubble.
Oh,
as promised.
I was gonna ask you. I really wanted the hot goss.
I'm just coming in talking to my source inside the bubble. Breaking news.
Your Walter Cronkite moment yet again.
I mean, all they said was there is definitely love in the air. and a lot of it. No idea how this will all end.
Wow.
That is true, because I think they realized that what they sounded like was a bit of a Chris Harrison vagueness to it. But
they didn't say it was going to be the most dramatic season ever, though. So
they did not.
No. Oh, they did last week.
But
in your text.
They did.
Yeah,
they did. Now, couple things. We've heard nothing "quote unquote" official from any Bachelor or Warner Brothers Instagrams as relates to Tayshia being the Bachelorette. Is that true?
I have not seen anything official.
Yeah, right. Because I know people is like, oh, it's Tayshia, and I think some of the outlets like E! and even Peep, you know, some like have said, oh, Tayshia's new Bachelorette. Yeah. But I've gotten no confirmation. My source inside the bubble won't confirm or deny this information.
And then
which
there
I
have
find
been
to be
a lot of
interesting.
other Bachelor franchise people in La Quinta or wherever they're
that I don't
filming.
hold too much
weight with. Yeah,
I can tell you Hannah Ann's already out of the bubble.
Yeah. Well, Hannah Ann was there. Who else was there? Jared and Ashley.
Jared and Ashley were there. They're just doing
Becca was pictured there, which is another
also
interesting
I
development.
think the Becca, Hannah Ann, I bet they had like a sit down with Tayshia kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing on Instagram.
Or would they just bring them there to film something completely different to throw people off?
I don't think so. What I find interesting about them not announcing Tayshia, that means something, because a lot goes into promoting your next lead. You know, you want people to be invested, to get to know your Bachelorette,
But they also don't want, if they confirm Tayshia, they also have to confirm that Claire left, and then that would also lead into confirming the gossip that she left with someone that everyone knows.
but wouldn't that create the buzz that...
But why would you want to watch the first half of the season if you know who she leaves with?
Because you want to see how she leaves.
Yeah. It's the how. It's not the who.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about whoever season it, Claire's season, Tayshia's season, now more than ever.
My favorite thing out of all of this, the most fortuitous thing was Claire's tweet that didn't age well of respect me, respect
the rules,
respect the opportunity that you're given in regards to Matt James.
Yeah.
And then there she is, the first person to ever leave halfway through filming.
That we know of. And I know, like, last week it was, you know, I listen, I'm quote unquote critical of if Claire in fact quit for that reason. I go back to, like, this is a TV show we're talking about, so like it's known. This, like, we criticize in this world, and no one should be hating on Claire.
No,
I always have to say that, because like you put stuff out there,
found
and
someone
you have
that's
trolls.
her soulmate, and she was like, I don't want to make out with other guys for your television show. Props to her.
I mean, like every
lead wants to do that. Yeah.
So that's.
I mean, if there's what is the at stake in your contract? If you leave early, you owe them like $1 million. If you spoil the season, what is it?
I don't remember.
It's something like that, though.
It might be.
Maybe you can't say.
I honestly don't remember. You know, I don't. I'm sure there's something in there. It would imagine the nightmare PR if they sued their lead.
Yeah.
If they casted Claire, whatever the reason.
I mean, they didn't do it to Caitlyn when she.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, can you imagine what it would be like even if Claire, you know, broke the rules, did things that were like clearly against the contract, and then they sued the shit out of Claire? Imagine the challenges they would have going forward of finding people to do that. Like,
and it would also only be $1 million. Like, that's nothing for that size of a franchise. Like, how much money they would pull.
But it would could be life ruining for the people they sue. I guess
I was just about to be like $1 million.
Yeah, for Warner Brothers it's nothing. For people it could be everything. I guess so. But in this case, what I'm saying is, when people say like good for her, like, yeah, sure, good for her.
Yeah.
I don't think she should be awarded any medals in the world of The Bachelor, because this is going to be amazing TV. I'm glad it happened. Like I've said before, this can only really be a one-off thing, right? If Matt James quits in 3 weeks and this pattern happens where the lead feels emboldened to like just close up shop within the first 2 weeks when they lock eyes on someone, this franchise is going to tailspin.
I mean, this is really the only time, because the other, rumor is that they were talking in that break. And so this is the only time where I think you would have that opportunity. Otherwise, you have no idea who the cast is until you're already secluded and don't have a phone.
Sure. I mean, that leads to like, if she was talking, it was a little bit of the, certainly a lot of differences. But when Caitlin and I were talking and then they asked her to be the Bachelorette and then I showed up.
Yeah.
But, but even then, if I played the Claire card, I would have quit after week 3.
Yeah.
And just said, well, I'm going to pick Vanessa and I don't want to lead anyone on and I don't want to make out with so-and-so. And I'll just, if you don't let me just date Vanessa, I'm going to quit.
Do you think that would have, because you said in the past that was part of the issue, is like seeing your other relationships develop. Do you think that would have given you more of an opportunity to succeed in that relationship?
No.
No?
As far as would Vanessa and I have had a better chance of succeeding? Yeah. No, I no.
Okay.
No. And if you want to learn more why, tune into my Patreon with Vanessa on September 1st. But
You're welcome for that segue.
Thank you. Thank you, Cathy. No, we do talk about it, but ultimately Vanessa and I just weren't compatible. And sometimes the pressures of the Bachelor world will bring up problems that you're inevitably going to figure out maybe later, much sooner. I do think that for the most part, the couples that were going to work make it work. Because for all of the bullshit that the Bachelor franchise and having to fall in love through that process of making out with other people can challenge and damage a relationship, there are a lot of incentives too of making a relationship work so that, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a ton of relationships. I mean, put it this way, it's a safe bet that of all the Bachelor relationships that end up ending, they ended 3 or 4 months past when they should have. Right,
because they're worried about what
people are going to say.
I mean,
there's financial implications. Like, the reality is that you're more valuable as a couple than you are as individuals. That's just a fact, and it's not like it's not enough to make you stay together forever. Yeah, but it's certainly enough to make you go like, let's fucking try to make this work.
I'm sure that's part of the reason of what Becca and her dude are going through right now.
Sure, I mean. They're all real. I'm sure Becca and Garrett are having real conversations that are not about money, but I'm just saying that's in the back of your mind. So just like there's things that pull you down and there's things that make you not quit. Like, cause in real life, you're just like, well, fuck it. Like, it's just not working. Yeah. And maybe you could have tried harder. Maybe you could have, would Vanessa and I ever gotten therapy if it weren't for like the pressures of trying to make it work? I mean, I've never gotten therapy with someone I was dating for 7 months other than Vanessa. So take that for what you want. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if it would have definitely mattered that way. If it is Tayshia, are you excited about Tayshia?
Yeah. I mean, she seems like such a sweet girl. She has some interesting taste as far as JPJ. But no one wants to forget that.
No.
But yeah, I'm excited. I am one of the few people that I feel like likes when they stray from the pattern of you have the 8 weeks of television and you pick one person at the end. I think this is more interesting because we've seen that formula so many times. So to have potentially 2 bachelors or bachelorettes and them not pitted against each other, I kind of feel bad that she only gets half a season and whatever picked through Claire's leftovers, if that's what it is.
That we don't really know. Yeah. I mean, they could add weeks. That's the interesting part. We have no idea.
This is the closest thing we're getting to a Bachelor in Paradise season. Well,
it almost sounds, the bringing Hannah Ann, bringing Becca, bringing Ashley and Jared. They've done that with like, you know, the sit downs and things like that. And they, you know, they brought Demi in on Hannah's season a lot. They brought Hannah back on Peter's season. So they've been doing more and more of that, but it does, this season's clearly going to have a little bit more of a Bachelor in Paradise feel. They canceled Bachelor in Paradise, so maybe that's a good thing because they're not traveling; they're on location at this one place.
I mean, it wouldn't be the best to just watch someone make out with 3 different people on the same night or something.
Pool
yeah, considering the times that we're in, maybe not the best PR move, but
it will. I'm really curious how it all breaks down.
But on the episode, Jason Mesnick season, they still were talking about Claire. Like they were still building up Claire. And so either that being pre-recorded or, I mean, the fact that they haven't announced Tayshia yet, are they going to promote her in the same way that they've been shoving Claire down everyone's throats?
But here's the thing. Pre-recorded, yes. But if they had to, when did this Claire stuff start? Over a week ago.
Oh, like 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point.
So they easily could have taken that stuff out of the Jason's GOAT episode.
Yeah.
They deliberately left that in.
Well, they definitely left it in. Chris Harrison asking Jillian about advice for Claire and how they thought she
I'm saying they could have taken that out.
Yeah.
They could have probably.
Do you know something that we don't know, Chrissy?
No, I'm just like, it's just such a pre-record thing. Like, I think I just look at it differently. Like, I always look, when I watch TV, I look at TV differently as a person who...
No.
Maybe they still want us to watch
that.
Claire.
It was clearly pre-recorded. I can tell you they recorded it like, I mean, my GOAT episode recap that's in a couple of weeks, we did this 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, you know, when they edit it, they lock in the episodes. If they wanted to take that out because Claire is like somehow going to be erased from this season and it's all Tayshia,
I don't think she's going to be erased.
They could have edited that out.
Yeah. Well, Allie said they edited out her advice for Claire, so clearly they can. But
here's what I mean. Like they edit out Allie's advice for Claire. They edit a lot of it. Like, you know, when they did my interview, they're editing it all. They shorten it down. They edit out Allie's stuff. In my guess was because they didn't want that in there. They edited. What I'm saying is when they lock in the episode, they're like, here's our episode and we're going to have this moment for Claire. And then all of a sudden like, oh shit, this happened.
Yeah.
We need to take this out, what we have locked in. They could have done that and they decided not to.
Jillian didn't really even say anything. She just welcomed her into the sisterhood. She wasn't like, you have to pick the right person. You have to do this, this, and this because... Then they would have taken it out if she'd already done filming.
I bet somebody looked at it and was like trying to sit there and figure it out because that's what I would have done. Looked at it and been like, okay, so...
Or do they want to spend that extra money on an editor when the show's already...
I don't think it's nothing. Listen, they haven't confirmed Tayshia. That's...
Clearly it's making us talk about it.
Yeah, I just don't think it's on purpose. I think they just left it in. They were like, basically it costs too much money or it's too much work or it's not worth...
Have you ever seen... Yeah, this is like... I'm a big Jason Bourne movie fan.
Never seen one.
Anyways, in the movies, he's like an assassin. They're like, maybe he's making a mistake. And she goes, they don't make mistakes. And what I'm saying is nothing they do is on accident or not thought through ad nauseum. And if like there's something... It
creates more speculation.
So if they not announcing Tayshia... And there is value in getting the audience excited about a certain person. And if they're making a last minute switch, you would think they would want to prop up Tayshia. There's a reason why. I don't know what that reason is, but I'm safe to say that they're like Claire, I still think is going to be a big part of this season. Yeah. I don't, and so is probably seems like Tayshia, but nothing official has come out about Tayshia, and I'm curious as to why. I would think they would want to try to do that.
I'm curious because we got the news that she was there, and then she would have had to quarantine for some time. Yeah. So maybe they didn't want to announce anything until she was actually filming.
I think she's been
until she's actually COVID free. Yeah.
Well, my understanding is they bring people in. From my friends who have gone, you take a test. You have to go there for 4 or 5 days. You take another test.
Those people aren't making out with anyone.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That's the difference. Is all of my friends who are back on sets, they like the ones who have gone to Vancouver to film, they have to quarantine by themselves for 14 days, no matter what's going on.
Well, if it's in Vancouver, the Canada have a whole different.
Yeah, I mean,
but
great,
here even too is like you're expected to quarantine all of the athletes.
I don't know but it seems like they've been filming, and I can't imagine they would put.
I mean,
maybe
they're still filming with Claire and her dude.
Maybe. My
Have
guess,
they left? Is that?
I thought I saw somewhere
that
that they were in a house somewhere on the same property, but like in a villa on the property.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I just don't. If they're still filming, they're filming with again, like assuming it's Tayshia.
They also probably don't want to risk having this dude and Claire
out and about.
No, even on a plane home.
Also, could you imagine the nightmare? Okay, you bring all these guys in. They got to quarantine for 10 days.
Yeah.
Right? Then you start filming with Claire. Claire's like, picked my guy.
Yeah.
You pause a timeout. You don't know what to do. Maybe you bring some guys back. And then like, we're bringing in Tayshia and she has to do another 2 weeks of quarantine.
Yeah. So these people are just sitting in their house for 14 days.
I mean, I think they have to do. If they're going to bring in Tayshia, I think she's going to have to be quarantined.
I mean, I am really curious about all that because I don't have the answers, and those are all the questions we have in terms of how do they make that work. I will want to hear from these guys who had to quarantine for 10 days.
Yeah.
Listen to Claire, just be like, peace, come back, be like, we got to, and be like, what? And just sit there? Tayshia? Huh? I mean, I'm sure there's some excitement because maybe guys who felt like they got no connection with Claire.
That'll also be super interesting for, did filming continue in the times that the guys had no lead there? Because you'd have to think if there were fights going on or whatever. Yeah.
No, when I read the text from inside the Bachelor bubble, and I keep saying this, they're good at adjusting. It's fascinating when I've talked to some of these producers having gone through these experiences and they seem like these mad scientists and so smart. And they're like, you must have planned this all out. And you only come out and find out they're just like, man, we had no idea what we were fucking doing. This happened. We got so lucky with this.
They're literally in the trenches, just like
there's a lot of
using
planning,
their best judgment. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is fascinating to see how they do that stuff.
Yeah.
And how some of it is luck, some of it is planned, some of it is things don't work out.
Yeah.
And then, then there is editing, then they kind of massage it. And that is really all kind of fascinating. But the behind the scenes is, I'm as fascinated as any other season of what it was like, what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
I hope they allow, if we have some of these people on the podcast to talk about that experience, what that was like to get that kind of sense of being locked in and getting excited about Claire and then getting excited about Tayshia.
Dude, also, no one's talking about this and it's probably not that big a deal, but that area of California right now is anywhere between like 110 and 115 degrees every single day. I did it for 2 days just for a friend's birthday and it was miserable.
So you're either inside in air conditioning or outside in an oven.
But you're
it's like 120 degrees like all the time.
Yeah,
it's not ideal.
It's not.
Because
I don't care what resort you're at.
They're just heat exhaustion and like probably delirious.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's because Paradise is a little Paradise. There's no air conditioning, so that sucks. But you are literally on the beach and you have the wind, and it's super humid. But you're only wearing a swimsuit, and you get to kind of roam around. And it's actually the food's great, and you have a great time. But
to just be laying on a pool floaty for 10 days, not sure if like there's another Bachelorette, like this is how I die.
Can we set up all dates inside of a ballroom?
And not being able to like interact with people.
Yeah.
That's why when they say there's a lot of people are falling in love, I believe that because
none of the dates are allowed to be outside of this resort either, are they?
No.
So you can't.
The whole experience.
That's like Big Brother.
The whole experience is about withholding love. I mean, you fall in love on that show, not because you get to spend a lot of time with people, because you don't get to spend any time with someone, and you make a connection with someone and they pull you away. You're just like, no, bring it back. Like, Clara was just like, all I want to do is spend time with this guy. And they were like, no, you got to spend time with this guy. And they had to like take Dale away, whoever this Dale guy is. And she was like, no, give me more Dale. Tayshia's in for she's in for it because it's going to be even more complicated and more confusing as the lead of Right Reasons.
Tayshia's going to come in and there's going to be that one guy that's just all sunburned.
Yeah, right.
I said this on the Chicks in the Office podcast. I want to see the date. I don't know how long they filmed. We speculated 12, 13 days with Claire. So there's been some dates. There's been some interactions with other guys. Clearly, there's going to be a lot of Claire and Dale, but she clearly had talked to some other guys. And I want to see the guy or guys who had time with Claire and were like, she's amazing. I'm falling in love. She's great. I love Claire. Claire leads with Dale. Tayshia comes in.
Yep.
I love Tayshia. I love Tayshia. I want that guy to get the first one. I want that guy to get the first one-on-one. If there's another guy other than Dale who is fallen hard for Claire, I want him to have the first one-on-one with Tayshia.
I mean, Tayshia, I feel like would have the most valid reasons for going into a season as the Bachelorette thinking, what if some guy doesn't choose me at the end? Like that out of any season, because none of them even thought she was in the realm of possibilities of being cast.
Yeah, realistically, I get what you're saying. Realistically, I mean, no one's there for Claire or Tayshia. Then no one was there for me or Ben. Certainly.
But this one, it was, they said it was Claire. They announced it was Claire. They started filming immediately, then had a break. So all of the men that were there knew that it was going to be Claire.
The reality is like it's just as likely that many or most of those guys would have preferred Tayshia anyways to Claire or vice versa. It's just
they probably thought the worst part about the season was going to be that they couldn't travel. They get thrown all of this.
Yeah, it is crazy, but I'm curious to see how Tayshia handles. I'm curious to see if Tayshia kind of comes in with this like, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy for Claire.
Does she get engaged in the end?
And I'm so happy that I get to do this. Or does Tayshia come in with more of a, I don't know if I could trust these guys, kind of chip on her shoulder, kind of thing. Yeah. And Tayshia is measured. I mean, Tayshia got super mad at me because I said she was boring TV. So
I mean, that's kind of an insult.
Is it though?
Well, boring. I don't know.
I don't.
Maybe she stopped listening at boring. If you just,
I think if you're boring TV, that has nothing to do with you being
you could be an actual human being, like real human being.
It's just like
it's not
you're just
dramatic.
You choose not to like insert yourself and clickbaitable TV moments. I don't see that as a criticism to anyone.
Yeah.
But she got super mad at me. She unfollowed me as a result. Oh. She hates me. So I just think, but my point is, I know she, as we all are, we're sensitive. We care what people think. I'm curious how measured she will be. I was excited about Claire because what I love about Claire is she doesn't give a fuck. She might tweet this shit about Matt James, only do the same shit 2 weeks later. That is great TV.
Yep.
Tayshia's a little more thought through,
Yeah.
And that might make her more polished, more easier to be a friend. A lot of things. It may not.
Are you trying to get that follow back? You're really milking it.
But I'm just articulating my criticism of, which is not criticism of a person, that I'm curious how Tayshia will be.
Yeah.
Clearly a ton of the men will be into Tayshia. Mm-hmm. That makes for great TV.
How many men are still there?
How many men are? I'm curious how Tayshia will approach it. I think that'll be fascinating. And I hope she really goes for it and puts herself out there. Because all we've seen is Tayshia. It was JPJ and who? Derek? Who was she?
Derek for a second. She was on Colton season.
No, I know, but like in Paradise. Colton, it was Colton. So like that was her only choice. I'm curious to like because JPJ. Paradise is sometimes a little bit of a preview of how Tayshia was sought after in Paradise.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised that she continued that JPJ relationship post show.
It's interesting.
You never know.
She likes that quirky little kind of, I don't know.
You never know what people's motives are.
Yeah.
It didn't last.
No.
Spoiler.
Yeah. So I'm as excited as I ever thought I would be for this particular season. Disappointed we don't get to see Claire date the go through the traditional process,
Yeah.
but I am excited to see how it goes down, how it's all handled.
She knows what she wants.
And I'm excited to see, assuming it's Tayshia, nothing official, but it should be a lot
It'll
of fun.
be fun to get some new content for sure.
Cathy, any final thoughts? Anything you want to let the people know what you're doing?
No, I think
Baking?
I'm excited for, baking, writing, coming on this show.
Follow-
Before and after
Where can they
pandemic.
buy your cookies?
Yeah, where can people
You can
buy your
follow
cookies?
me, follow me on Instagram at Cathy Kelley. I did some like quarantine kitchen stuff, but I'm still baking and posting it, and maybe I'll upload some more recipes soon.
Well, it's always fun to talk Bachelor, Bachelorette with you.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have to bring you back when Claire's season is going on.
If you get those early screeners, I'm gonna be here every week. So
I got you, Cathy. Thank you so much for coming. Always fun. Don't forget to subscribe. Tune in. What do we got tomorrow? Pastor Miles.
Pastor Miles.
Gonna love that episode. Great guy, great story, and just a real kind of feel good perspective on the world and ways we can kind of help each other, help our community. And don't forget to send your questions at asknick@castmedia.com, cast with the K for our Ask Nick episodes. And if there's nothing else, we will see you tomorrow.